on the aftermath of that cyber attack that's affected some hospitals in London in recent weeks. We've heard today that sensitive data belonging to NHS patients has been shared online following what happened. The cyber attack happened a fortnight ago, but it's led to operations and appointments still being cancelled. The trusts that run Guy's Hospital, St Thomas's and King's College Hospital are affected. The Royal Brompton Hospital in Chelsea is also affected. LBC News reporter Victoria Innes has been there.
It got into its IT system and it blocked it from ordering tests and getting back results. And these are needed for things like operations, hospital admissions. So it has had a huge knock-on effect.
The attack was actually targeting a third-party company that works with hospitals in London. Let's talk about this more with Graham Stewart, who is from the cybersecurity firm Checkpoint Software Technologies. Thank you for joining us on LBC News this evening. We heard about the cyber attack a couple of weeks ago. Now it seems that data and data belonging to patients in the NHS has been shared online. Many people are going to be concerned about this. What are your thoughts on how all of this has been handled?
I think this is and it may not immediately feel like that to anybody that's been involved, but the approach is correct. We absolutely don't deal with extortionists. This is plain and simple an attempt at extortion. So that's the number one thing. The obvious other implication here is the reducing of NHS staff to pen and paper to do these tests, which has caused all kinds of issues, as we know. But this is not an unusual event. We stop thousands of these attacks every single day, and we're just going to see more and more of these as time goes on.
And what can be done to try and stop this having such a big impact?
So in the NHS specifically, they've got a bit of an issue in that it's a very federated organisation, lots of different organisations all kind of doing separate things and their own thing. So that's difficult. But nevertheless, in my experience, 25 years working in this space, there's some amazing people there working in the NHS defending them from these kind of attacks. It's about making sure that you've got the latest technology installed, you're using it properly, the basic processes are being used and adhered to. The other thing as well is, and one of the key things about these attacks, and in common with a number of other attacks on public sector, not just here in the UK but around the world, is an attack on a third-party supplier to these organisations. So it's really important that when we outsource to a private sector or third sector organisations, that we make sure that terms and conditions, the contracts actually state that cybersecurity is at the top of the priority list or near the top of the priority list when we're actually outsourcing.
That's an important thing, isn't it? Like you say, this isn't hackers going after the NHS directly. They're going after an organisation linked to the NHS that has access to NHS data. And as you say, you need to have, this written into a contract that you will do X, Y and Z. But there are going to be times potentially when companies don't do X, Y and Z, and it's all very well you can have like legal action, but the data may well be out there on the internet by that point. I mean, that's, we're in this position now, aren't we?
Yeah, and look, this is not the first one of these times. The attack from almost an academic perspective follows a very set pattern here, which is the attacker will break into the network, cause some disruption. So in this particular case, if you remember back at the start of it, there was disruption to services. They'll then remove a huge amount of data from the system, and that's personally identifiable patient information. And then they'll hold that to ransom. And this follows a pattern. And it's not just here in the UK, it's all around the world. But there was an incident last month with someone going after a defence supplier. This is one of those things that as we become an ever more joined up society, there are bad guys out there who are going to seek to make hay while the sun is shining and actually go after these things and try and make some money from it.
Yeah, and money does appear to be the motive, doesn't it? You said that, we don't pay ransoms, but, I mean, are there any circumstances in which, it might be necessary to try and look at that in a slightly less sort of black and white way?
So in line with, government policy, if you think about sort of, kidnappings and things like that, government and not dealing with terrorists, we've always made the point of saying, and quite rightly, we don't pay the ransom. We don't deal with extortionists. We don't deal with people like this. There have been reported incidents of companies, so private sector organizations, paying up. But there was an attack earlier on this year on an education organisation. They simply just don't have the money to do this. Plus, there's no guarantee that you'll actually get the result that you're looking for, which is the freeing up of the system, the returning of the data. Plus, also, frankly, you're encouraging this kind of behaviour, these kind of attacks to carry on. These people are. I saw one of the comments about this organisation that they were doing it because they were sympathetic to some armed conflict. I have to say that's about as compelling an argument as, some guys knocking off somewhere in Hatton Garden and saying it's for Ukraine. This is about money. These are criminal gangs exploiting organisations for financial gain, and so we absolutely should not be paying up.
Thank you very much for joining us here on LBC News this afternoon. That is Graham Stewart, Head of Public Sector at Checkpoint Software Technologies, a cybersecurity firm.